I don't know if I want to spend that much of it on Steven Matz. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Blue Jays Today, where we always have something to say about the Toronto Blue Jays. I'm your host, Nicholas Blaylock.
And I'm your host, Adam Peddle. And today, guys, we're going to have our first ever free agency moves and rumors for this offseason. We're so excited to bring to you all the news and updates that are going on around the MLB. But before we get into those, guys, make sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe, and click that post notification bell button so when we get news, you get news, and stay up to date. All right, so the first one on the market here, this one came out this morning, actually, and this is Sunday. So Robert Suarez, do you know who that is? Have you ever heard of this man before?
No. Who's Robert Suarez? I know Eugenio Suarez.
I know that guy, but this guy, Robert Suarez, he's a closer, and he's played in the Japanese league, and he's played for 6 seasons. Now, this guy has a chance to be a free agent this offseason and come over to the MLB.
Wait, Robert Suarez is a Japanese league player?
Yeah.
Wow.
But I think he's from Colombia. He's from Colombia.
I was gonna say, like, that's not your typical, like, Japanese name.
Right.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. You know, so this guy in his career pitched a 2.80 ERA, and this year he pitched a 1.16 ERA.
Kick ass.
That's gonna kick ass, man. And like he's gonna join the likes of Rafael Iglesias, Kenley Jansen, Kendall Graveman, Ryan Tepera, Colin McHugh, you name it. So this guy is joining the market and could be a spicy pickup.
I mean, like, that's all good and well, right? Also, guys, apologies for my voice. I'm a little bit ill today. That's all good and well, but are we going to be getting another Tamagotchi Yamaguchi sort of scenario? For those of you who don't know, Shun Yamaguchi was a Blue Jays pickup coming from overseas. Stud over there, not so much in the MLB. It's always so difficult to tell, right? When you transfer leagues like that, like how you're going to adjust. Sometimes they do well, sometimes they don't. So.
And here's the thing: it's like Tanaka, when he came over a few years ago, he came over and was immediately a stud. So I think a lot of the overseas players were getting overrated and we're getting bigger deals, and we've seen those deals bust, like you're saying, Yamaguchi. So now I think that they're starting to get a little bit undervalued. So like you saw what was his name? Ha-Seong Kim. He was a little undervalued. He didn't play a starting role. He was on the team, but didn't play a starting role for most of the season. So, I mean, you might see this guy being a little bit of a dart throw, and I'm okay with it.
Totally, yeah. I mean, if the price is right, I will throw as many darts as needed, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think he's a great grab, especially for your Toronto Blue Jays, for those Blue Jay fans out there. He would be excellent. Just let's see what he can do. If not, then we don't have to owe him anything. Don't owe him too much, unless we sign him to something ridiculous.
What else you got, bro? What's going on in the world?
Well, this one I think is pretty funny. I think it's pretty funny, and no disrespect to my Mets fans out there, but the Mets are looking for a new front office, and
they're getting a little slooty, bro. Like they're getting a little bit like that crazy ex-girlfriend, you know, that just won't stop calling.
Dude, and the thing is, like, when you say slooty, like, they're calling everybody.
Everybody,
bro.
Anybody who's ready to set up shop at the Mets front office, like, they will have you. They called how many people? Well, I know that they called us.
Yeah. Let's start with that.
Blue Jays.
Tell me about that, because you know this. You heard this over me. What happened?
It was pretty simple. They got on the phone. They called. They were like, "We want to have Shapiro in," and the Blue Jays are like, "Yeah, no, screw that. You're not having an interview with our dude. He's staying right here." And from what I've heard, that has continued for them for a bunch of other teams too.
That's kind of ridiculous. That's like asking someone who's in a relationship, a long-term committed relationship, "Hey, do you want to like go out with me?"
That's
or like,
what I'm saying,
it's
dude.
Like,
crazy ex-girlfriend.
Yeah,
you know?
like, but no. I'm dating these people, and he's dating us for at least 4 more years. So that's a little ridiculous.
Apparently, the organizations, like how they kind of structure this is, like, if it's a move where the person like Shapiro was to move up, then they'll allow him to do it.
Right.
Because it's like that's advancing his career. Like, it kind of makes sense. You know, it's
right.
Like if you're like a lower down, like, and you get to be the GM of the Mets, like, that's great, right? But if it's just a lateral move, then they're kind of like, no, screw off.
Yeah, like he's already the president of the Blue Jays, so it's like, how much higher do you really want to get? But no, I think the fact that the Jays denied any request to like get an interview is excellent, and we're not the first one to deny requests. Okay, the Brewers vice president has been asked about as a candidate. The Rays player development vice president, Carlos Rodriguez, he's been asked, and many other GMs in the Twin System, Cardinals, and the Braves have all been asked, and a lot of them have denied the request for the Mets to even speak with them.
Right. Yeah.
So
I mean,
so this is
what
what
you got to do, right? You got to call around. So
I get that. It's kind of, but for me, it's kind of funny because of how desperate it is. You know, it's almost like they're just they'll take anyone at this point.
Totally, dude.
They'll
Well, I
take
mean, like their
anyone.
team was trash fire last year, and also too, it's like I forget like what position. I think it was the president. Wasn't he like drunk driving?
Oh yeah,
wasn't
I think
that
so.
You know? So it's like
maybe president. I'm not sure.
that's
actually.
the thing, dude. Like, there's some internal rot there that they have got to get adjusted.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's gonna require more than 1 or 2 phone calls, I think, to find the guy.
And someone's gonna have to clean it up. Someone's gonna have to clean up
Somebody's
a lot.
gonna have to play. Yeah, basically, you know, they're calling not for a GM, they're calling for a fucking janitor right now,
a
dude.
front office janitor.
Yeah,
Can you just
100%.
and then if you're going in, the janitor sees like puke and drunk drivers everywhere, and you're like, oh, ooh, I don't
Like,
want to
why
get into
do
this
I want
mess.
to do that? You
Yeah.
know, like you better really sell it in the interview.
And
know?
you better pay a lot of money. You better pay a lot of money. But I mean, I
Yeah.
hope for you Mets fans out there that you can actually find someone who can clean up the mess, because I was on you last year this time. And I really want you guys to be better, especially you lock down Lindor, DeGrom's a G, and I want to see you guys do better.
Yeah,
wanna see you guys
yeah,
do a
bro.
lot
I
better.
mean, speaking of New York teams, the other New York team, we were talking about them a little bit about how they're going to be buyers, and that is locked in. That is legit. Their window is kind of closing. It's still open though, and they should be top tier World Series contenders. But the question that we kept running into, the roadblock, was, well, where are they going to find all this money? Because right now it's already projected on their books that they're going to be down like $19 million coming into next year. Well, apparently what they did last year was they just snuck under the whole luxury tax thing. So now they've reset the whole process, and now they don't have to pay the lump sum or the monstrous percentage that they would have had they not reset. And the Yankees don't care. Like they're good to pay 20% or 25% luxury tax.
Yeah.
So they're like, screw it, we'll just buy again.
Yeah, and that's the difference from the Yankees and the Dodgers to the rest of the league. It's like they're okay. They can extend their window actually by doing this. By last year, that was pretty smart. Now, I didn't even notice this, that went really under the radar, that they weren't over the tax in 2021, which means, yeah, it does reset it. So the first year, for guys who don't know, I believe it's something like 20%. You have to pay 20% of the dollars over the luxury tax threshold, which is this year $210 million. So, and then if you do again for the second consecutive year, it goes to 30, and then the third and onwards, it's 50. So they were about to hit that third year, and then they got out of it. So that's really cool for them, I guess. So you're going to see.
It just means that the luxury tax for the Yankees and for the Dodgers and for, I'd say that those two definitely, maybe the Boston Red Sox sometimes, but it's kind of more, it's less of a hard cap and more of just a suggestion.
Yeah.
You know, like
And,
just to like maybe stay under that if you can.
Yeah, exactly. Because you don't want to go like 4, 5, 6 years old, because you're just going to get taxed the crap out of you. And I don't know if it keeps going up after 50. I mean, we're going to have to see with the CBA agreement what they do with
That's
that.
still to be decided, I think. Yeah.
But what this does mean is you're going to see at least 2 years of the Yankees buying hard.
Probably.
They're going to be buying hard. Yeah. And guys like Carlos Correa, Corey Seager, and Marcus Semien are going to be on their radar. They've set, like, let's be honest, Gleyber Torres is not a good defensive shortstop.
No, not at all.
Really,
man.
even
we
offensively
don't even know
either.
if he's we don't even know if he's
really
good
that good of a
offensively,
player.
right? And I think Carlos Correa was it that he said something or tweeted out, and correct me in the chat, guys, but he said something like I vibe with pinstripes, or I like pinstripes. So I could definitely see a meeting between Carlos Correa and the New York Yankees, because he's going to cost a pretty penny.
Oh.
They're willing to give it up right now because, like we said, that luxury tax for them, it's just a suggestion.
It's a suggestion. That's pretty funny. Of course you'd like pinstripes. Everyone likes pinstripes when they got the money.
Yeah, of course.
Let's be
of
real.
course,
And the
right,
winning
right.
culture. I mean, let's be honest. If they go out and get Carlos Correa, and even they need another pitcher, like let's say they get like Robbie Ray or Marcus Stroman, which they've been like suggested to be targeting, then yeah, they're gonna mess people up.
Well, I mean, it was kind of shocking that they weren't as elite this year, you know?
Right.
And then they kind of figured it out in the second half of the year and was like, oh, yeah, this is the Yankees that we all thought, right? So, I mean, they're going to go out. They're going to go get some, probably 2 more studs in the offseason on pitching and on offense. And they're going to be, one of the best teams in baseball.
We're the best team in baseball again. So we're going to have a better rivalry this year. The Yankees are going in. The Blue Jays are going in. I'm obviously don't hear much from the Tampa Bay Rays, and we'll see about those Boston Red Sox. Who knows? But actually, speaking of someone like a shortstop like Marcus Semien, now this guy, this was earlier in the week, and brace yourselves, Blue Jays fans. He has hired the Scott Boras Corporation to represent him this offseason. Now, who does the Scott Boras Corporation represent? Well, Garrett Cole, Anthony Rendon, Strasburg, and Bryce Harper.
Does he represent Bauer too? I thought he might have represented Bauer.
No. Remember the what's her name? What's her
you're
name?
Absolutely right. There was a Rachel Luba. Yes. And that was a whole point actually that Bauer wasn't going to be represented. Yes, of course.
Yeah. So
either way though, guys, I mean Scott Boras likes lots of money for lots of years, and usually the guys that he represents are the top tier talent. Now that's not to say that he doesn't represent some other lesser guys.
Mostly though.
But I mean, like the top tier talent that he represents, like they are the elites and they get paid pretty much what they want. So
I believe he represents Ryu too, if I'm not mistaken.
I think that you're right about that. Yeah. And I mean, like the Ryu deal, like we were happy about it at the time, but looking at it now, we're like, holy mother of God, like, is that the right move for us? So I expect that Marcus Semien, like we've said all off season, he's going to get paid. He gambled on himself, and this is the exact move for him to make. He gambled on himself. He's like, hey, Scott, look at me, my 45 home runs. I deserve to get a 5 to 6 year deal, worth 150 mil plus, maybe. I don't know.
Who freaking knows?
And
Scott
Scott's
Boras.
Like, yeah, absolutely, dude. Like you were, MVP candidate this past year, so totally.
And with that being said, guys, I personally want to stay away from Marcus Semien. If he's going to start commanding lots of dollars, Scott Boras is going to start doing it, then I want to stay away from him because I don't want another contract that might look bad in like 3 or 4 years. I'll be honest. Are you kind of feeling the same vibe?
Oh, well, I mean, think about some of the guys that you just said there, right? Like Cole, I think that like Cole's contract still looks good, even though some people are claiming like, maybe the declines happen. Rendon, like
he's been hurt.
He's been hurt, but I mean, like that's what some of those contracts can do, right? It's like you're looking at Rendon, you're like not so good. Strasburg, it's like what the hell's going on there? He's been hurt too, right? It's like this is what happens with older players. The only one that I'm like very happy about would be Bryce Harper. And you're getting exactly what you paid for.
And the thing is, Bryce Harper was young too.
Bryce Harper
he was a lot younger.
Was 26 or 27 when he signed his deal, and that's the difference, right? That's 5 years younger than what Marcus Semien is going to be coming into this thing, right? Whereas some of these other guys, Cole, Rendon, Strasburg, they were in that Marcus Semien range. So I'm not saying that Semien's going to go down the same route as that. He definitely is a picture of health, but shit happens,
and it's going to cost a lot. So are you willing to do it? I don't know, because ideally I'd want him on a shorter deal, and it's probably going to be a longer deal.
Yeah,
and that is what it is. But also speaking about the Toronto Blue Jays in signing guys back. Now, we've talked about this on our Wine on Wine, but I wanted to get this into our free agency rumors video.
Yeah.
And that is that the Blue Jays have been rumored that they're going to try and qualify Steven Matz. Give him a qualifying offer for $18.4 million.
Did they say that they're going to try or that they were thinking about it?
They were thinking about it. So, meaning they might try.
Frankly,
maybe you swing and miss.
I think, well, I'll be honest. I don't think that you swing and miss on this. Like, try, to me, if you send the offer letter, that should be accepted immediately.
Right.
If
Fair
I
enough.
am Steven Matz, right? Like, if I have any self-respect in myself and believe that I can remotely repeat what I just did, I would accept that 1 year qualifying deal immediately because, guys, Steven Matz did put up a nice year. I think it was like a 3.82 ERA that he finished with, something around those regions. And I mean, he was solid, but he has had ups and downs his whole career. At 3.82, it's definitely not enough to be on a longer term deal getting something like an $18.5 million. In fact, even on a 1 year, I don't know if it's long enough unless it's the qualifying offer.
Yeah.
So I understand why the Blue Jays are doing this. They know that this would mean probably an immediate accept.
Yes.
And it also wouldn't lock you down on Steven Matz for a long time if he does bust. But $18.5 million, that is a lot of the payroll that we think that we have in this offseason. And I don't know if I want to spend that much of it on Steven Matz.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Here's the question. You brought it up yourself. It's an immediate yes. And we need to get some of our starting pitching back. If it's not going to be Robbie Ray, Because if you don't send Matz a qualifying offer, he'll go test the market. He can go test the market, no problem. And he'll make, because like what we're going to offer him, right? Somewhere between 8 and 12 million, would you say, a year? And for average annual value,
yeah.
he can probably go find someone to maybe bump it up to 13, 14. And do you want to take the risk of losing Matz and Robbie Ray this offseason and replacing with some guys who we haven't seen yet play in a Blue Jay uniform?
I understand why they want to do that, and that's the exact reason. They're like, do we want to do that? And for me personally, I say screw it, roll the dice, see what you can do. I think that there's enough starting pitchers on this market that you'll be able to at least lock down one of them and like trust Pete Walker to maybe figure out Nate Pearson's situation. Like that's the approach that I would do rather than spend what is, because we were talking about the magic number being $50 million. That's how much money the Toronto Blue Jays have to spend this offseason. Well, $18.5 million of it, now you're looking at about 40% of your entire payroll this offseason is gone on Steven Matz. And I like Steven Matz, and he was good last year, but I don't like him that much.
Now, if they do that, do you think they're going to spend more than $50 million if they have to? Because again, he's only a 1 year, right?
Maybe.
So if you do go and you grab, because some of the names we were tossing out there, like the big names and some little guys, getting someone like a Scherzer, right, for like a short 2-year deal. Obviously, that's a big one. But or grabbing, some other little deals that are in the bullpen, like we were talking about earlier. You could grab Robert Suarez. You could maybe go for Kenley Jansen, Colin McHugh, Ryan Tepera. Spending that in the bullpen, because that seems to be the importance. And then maybe another starting pitcher with Steven Matz and a bunch of bullpen arms. Maybe you grab like a low-key second baseman or something, middle infield to fill that up. Now they're looking at like 50 to 60 million. Well, next year you're going to lose to Steven Matz. You got money to spend now.
Yeah, no, and you know what? If that is the mentality, then okay, I see what you're doing. Like totally. I think that's got to be the thing though. Like if you're taking Steven Matz, I don't think that Steven Matz is good enough to be the replacement for Robbie Ray.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. He's not, I'd be really shocked if he put up a Cy Young year.
Yeah, and I don't want to be like paying him as in like, okay, this is the one starting pitcher that we're gonna get to fill that hole.
You can't,
because then you're really asking for like a bounce back from Ryu, like continued performances from Manoah and Burrios to maybe even improve, and probably Nate Pearson to step up as well. So that's a lot of ifs there.
For me, I would definitely need to get one more. Yeah, because the ifs with Ryu and like Manoah, I have a bit more confidence in just because we've seen it just for a longer stretch. You know what I mean? Where like Pearson, we haven't seen anything. You know what I mean? And then it's like Burrios, we know what we're gonna get. So Matz, we can make a good. We're gonna get solidness, but not like extreme greatness. Then there's a real realm of failure. But there's that one last spot that I want another guaranteed.
Me too.
You know what I mean?
I feel the exact same way.
Yeah, guys. So that's kind of like all our free agency news that we have so far this offseason. It's still early. Obviously, the World Series is still happening. And I believe, what, the Braves up now?
3-1 right now. Holy. But by the time that this comes out, then it might be over. It might be over, dude. Holy. They could win it tonight.
Wow, that's huge.
They could win it tonight, so we'll see. If not, then we might be live on Tuesday. Potentially to see if they could win it then. So hopefully that they don't tonight. They can win it on Tuesday.
I would love that. Guys, so let us know in the comments down below. What do you think about what we talked about? Steven Matz coming back on a qualifying offer, $18.4 million. The Yankees buying in. The Mets going crazy. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments down below.
Yeah, you can also check us out on Spotify, Breaker, Anchor, Radio Public, and Google Podcasts. Also, please make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Today, Jace is our code for Monkey Knife Fight and for Manscaped. Those are both of our sponsors, and we would really appreciate it if you hop onto them. And also $3 a month to become a Patreon, like all of these wonderful, beautiful people that are up here. It helps out the channel immensely, and you can call into the show on Fridays, Wine on Wines. It's a great time.
Guys, thank you so much for watching.
Go Jays, go!